Well, today apparently I'm going to talk to you about Matthew chapter 7 verse 1. Now, I say that offhand. I'm sure that some of you are like, okay, well, what exactly does that deal with? But if I say the words, judge not, that I bet a lot of you can actually fill in the blank. Be not judged. Okay? Uh, King James says, judge not that you be not judged. Let's see. NIV says, do not judge or you too will be judged. We know what that verse is. We've probably had it spoken to us many times. But do we really understand it? Well, to put it into basic English, um, if the Holy Spirit isn't condemning our brother, we shouldn't be racing to do that. Okay? We should be cultivating a love that covers a multitude of sin. Okay? If the Holy Spirit sends us to our brother and says, look, I want you to talk to this brother, I want you to restore them, I want you to point out what they're doing, and so they can press on towards maturity, that's not the same thing. You're being given a direct command, a guideline for which they should walk. Totally different. Okay? He's saying, okay, they're mature enough to handle this. Give them the keys to the car. Give them more responsibility. Okay? And as we prove to be faithful, he can trust us with a little bit more, and a little bit more, and a little bit more. But in the meantime, we're not supposed to condemn our brothers and sisters, especially if they're bearing good fruit. If we can see the love in their eyes and the joy in their heart, because even though they're still having issues, Jesus Christ and all the rest of his brothers are seeming to overlook that because they love him or her very much. That's not judging. That's what that looks like. Now, to do that, we have to make sure that when we come to somebody or when we meet somebody, if we have a question or a concern, we don't ask them, but we ask God himself. We say, Father, is this something I need to be concerned with? More often than not, he'll say, no, just love that brother. Don't even mention it. I had a dream last night about being in a church, not wearing a shirt, and he was preaching on the moral degradation of society. Okay? And of course, he's got to point me out as an example of what not to do. And before I could stop myself, I'm quoting Matthew chapter 7, verse 1. And then I went into the reason why. And the dream stopped. And that's why I'm talking to you today about it. And I want you guys to understand that we're not supposed to judge, we're supposed to love, and we're supposed to be obedient. Okay? Literally, if we're obedient to the 3 commands of Christ, we'll eventually get there. We'll eventually fulfill a lot more of the requirements of Jehovah God. Okay? We will do it, and it won't be burdensome, and it'll be built in such a way to where we're gradually pushing towards maturity. Okay? That's what's happening. Okay? And then we become continually transformed by the renewing of our mind. In other words, as we're more faithful to listen to Him and hear His voice and go to Him and obey Him, He shares more of His wisdom, more of His light, more of His love, and guess what? We hear, see, and perceive more of who He actually is and what He wants. Okay? And then we're like, wow, I thought that, once you came in and made your abode with me, and you set up the temple of God on the inside of me, that I was somehow righteous. I was somehow okay. I was somehow forgiven. And He's like, yeah, you're right, but that doesn't mean you're sinless. That doesn't mean that everything's okay, because it's not. What that means is my grace will cover you until you're strong enough to handle what I have to tell you. Okay? And if He hasn't told a brother or sister that, hey, put on a shirt, we shouldn't either. If He hasn't told a brother or sister that, you might want to pray more, you might want to love more, you might want to do this, we shouldn't either. Okay? So just be mindful of these things. Love one another. Upbuild. May God truly bless each and every one of you. Thanks.